Hello everyone, welcome to another episode of Drag Race Brazil Reviews by me, Favorite Brazilian, TheSeverus. Episode 4, Sereias do Atlântico. And we already have introduction to the dictionary, which is sereias. Sereias means mermaids, because that's the theme of the challenge. It's time for me to give my overall opinion of the episode and everything that went on. But before we do this, I would love if you guys would like the video, give a little comment, subscribe to the channel. If you guys like K-pop, if you guys like Drag Race, I will be here doing all of that, plus some gaming on a second channel. Okay, so this episode is the best episode of Drag Race Brazil up until now. Episode 4, best episode of Drag Race Brazil. Like, they, fully nailed everything. Even though I don't agree with some stuff that went down, like, judging and placements wise. But everything else, great episode. Really, really great episode. Honestly, this is, alongside season 15, the best design challenge that we have seen in a while. Because, both season 15 and Drag Race Brazil gave design challenges where no one did bad. No one did bad. Even, the bottom looks, they were, still okay for a design challenge. And, we have seen much worse throughout the years and throughout many franchises. So I was so excited to see, we delivering on the design challenge, because this is what happens for, Brazilian queens. Again, as I said on the episode 3, I think, right? Brazil doesn't pay our drag queens enough. So, you need to be smart. You need to, know how to put a look together with what you have. So, that's why the ingenuity for a design challenge like this was so, good. Because, even Dallas, who to me was, my least favorite, she made something that, it could be, a performance look in a club, and people would be like, oh, okay, this is, cute or whatever. Maybe, not to the European or the US people, because y'all are cunts. When, we had disaster runway looks and design challenges, so I don't want to see any of y'all saying anything to these girls. I'm just going to say this right now. But yeah, great episode, great runway, great drama. The pacings, felt a lot better too. It's getting there. We are getting there. It's, yes. Yes. Alright, so let's start our actual reveal. We go back to the workroom post Tristan elimination, and the girls are sad that Tristan gave up on the lip sync, because to them it looked like she gave up on the lip sync. Elena says it, Scarlett says that she didn't think that she deserved to go home this early, but she didn't lip sync. So and after the mirror is clean, we have that little moment of congratulating Organza for her second win. And Organza, makes sure to, praise Miranda and say that, you are fierce. As the queens are, de-dragging before the title card, we get a moment of Shannon just, mentioning mermaids. And I was okay. Did they know ahead of time that they were going to have a mermaid challenge, and they were just already in their head thinking, oh, maybe this is the design challenge next? I don't know. I do think that it was a coincidence, because I don't think that the producers would be that obvious on like, hey, Shannon, mention mermaids now, you know. The next day, the queens come into the workroom and like, you know, they gather around the table. It's really fun. Dallas mentions that she will apply the critiques from the judges and she's going to try to have more fun. However, Shannon was really quick to be like, oh, but you said that before already. Which Shannon is really like quick to clock the girls, and I am surprised that like as of right now people still have not turned on her, because like we know the pattern, especially when it's a queen of color. Once we start to clock the girls and be shady, the Drag Race fanbase normally don't take that very well, even though they are drag queens. Then Hubie asks Bettina,
completely on her own, without being prompted by a producer, obviously,
what she thinks the next challenge will be. Okay. The producers keep making Hubie start like the little like conversations, and that is so funny to me because like Hubie is such a character. She like has such like a personality and like the way that she like carries herself and the way that she speaks and like her manners, that like she's so quirky that every time that like she starts a conversation, you could tell that like, was it a producer that made you say that? But yeah, Bettina is like, oh, I think it's going to be a design challenge. The girls start to like kiki and be like, oh, who can sew? Who knows how to, you know, use the hot glue gun? All of like the talks that we get before and during a design challenge. So that was cute. Their conversation gets cut off by the alarm, by the siren, string sirene. The drag queen. We have the iconic Seguras de Rigdon bonecas and Grag on television. On her little, you know, introduction video, she hints at like, you know, ocean. She gives like some like references to like, you know, oh, pearls and, you know, this kind of things. I died when Aquarela was like, oh, the challenge is going to be who douches the best. Girl, I love Drag Race Brazil. I truly do. And as the girls are trying to figure out like what the secret message was, Shannon mentions Iemanjá, and Iemanjá is a Orisha, which are deities from the Yoruba religion, represented by, you know, the nature. And Iemanjá is known as like the sea queen, mother water, hence why like the connections and references to mermaids. Again, Shannon Scarlett, she truly is, I love her, because Melusine is like, oh yeah, my name is inspired by a mermaid, and then like Shannon was just like, oh, more like a pufferfish. I love Shannon Scarlett with all my heart. Yes. Anyways, Grag walks in. She looks cute. Really cute. And after Grag comes in, talk to the girls and be like, oh my god, how you guys doing? Have you guys made any like friendships already? Ooh. She announces that the mini challenge, the library is open. A biblioteca está aberta. Okay? And we get the same box from Mexico. Which I was like, well, you guys changed the set. I thought that you would also change the boxes. Anyways, the library is open, and then Miranda mentions the word xoxá, and xoxá is you know, to read or to make fun of someone. And when it comes like to reading and making fun of like your friends, your drag queens, your like fellow girlies, you can also use gonga. So that's a 2-for-1 dictionary deal. Got it? I personally wasn't expecting it to be like the best library ever, because even though I think that every queen on the cast have like club bar experiences, most of them are like mainly social media queens. I wouldn't say most of them, like some of the cast are mainly social media queens. So I wasn't expecting like reading to be like, you know, their forte. I also don't expect every queen to know how to read, period. Is this something like controversial to say? Some queens, or just like some people in general, just don't know how to read. Like, because maybe it's not their personality, or, you know, they are not like that quick. Of course, I wasn't surprised that Bettina and Miranda like did great, because they are, you know, the older queens of the cast, you know, that still are in the competition, because Juva Moore was the second oldest. But like, yeah, I wasn't surprised at all that they did the best, because they probably have the most experience, you know. And also Organza, like, if you are a ballroom queen and you don't know how to read, that I would be surprised by. So of course, I was not surprised that Organza did great. Miranda references the legend, the icon, the eternal Rita Lee. Rest in peace.
Ela é toda do bem, ela é tão galera, ela é jovem, ela é, sabe? Ah, se fuder, sabe? Chata paca.
Miranda is also like the first person to start the like shushu references to NASA. And shushu is slang for 5 o'clock shadow, kinda, you know, like the little like hairs that start to like grow after you shave and make this like green blue, you know, like tone peek through your foundation, which like makes me think, does like NASA not color correct? Because normally color correcting like helps with that, but also they do stay in drag for like hours, you know, before the runway, during the runway, during critiques. They have a break as well, I'm pretty sure. So maybe, you know, once the makeup starts to break down, you can start seeing the beard, because she also doesn't wear a lot of makeup. NASA is one of the queens that they are so beautiful already, naturally, that they don't wear a lot of like makeup, or are not like as heavy. Like, she barely wears contour. I'm like, are you even doing contour right now? Because sometimes it's hard to see. This time on the runway, she did drag. Okay, she said painted. But normally I'm like, are you even wearing makeup? Meluzini reads Dallas for being white as fuck, even though she's also white as fuck. And then Organza just jumps in and references a meme from like a novela.
Serena, você também é branca.
They are so smart. But with like the references and stuff, because like you can tell that like every single queen is like in some level of like chronically online, which is not something that we truly get with like the other seasons. And it's really refreshing to see. But yeah, Organza jumping in and being like, Serena, but você também é branca. That made me like cackle. It was She also tries to read Grag. And I'm like, girl, did you really try to read the host? On that moment, I was like, oh, is she going home? Because, guys, You don't do that. Even if it's a really funny, really funny read. If you bomb the challenge, I do think that like a part of like the hosts are like, see, that's why we don't read the host. But I have to say that I laughed at her read for Grag Queen about the purple bodysuit, because if you follow Grag Queen and you know like the Grag Queen lore, you know what this is referencing to. And, but yeah, she sealed her fate. She sealed her fate. Also, I do need to like praise Grag Queen as much as I can, because she is such a good host and she was ready to clock the girls. Like, because she also like, you know, gives a little jab at Naja. Like, because mentioning also like her 5 o'clock shadow, and I'm like, when she said that, I like smashed my space bar. I got up. I just had to. I had to. I just got up because I was like, this is a great host. Great host. Great host. Grag Queen, I think she's one of my favorite hosts of all time. Yeah. Again, I love Grag Queen. Stream Sirene. Now. Can we talk now about the winner of the mini challenge? Bettina Polaroid. To me, she won the reading challenge when she looked at her organza and says, eu também tenho uma nota pra você. De repúdio. She cleared the girlies. Like, again, it was another moment where I didn't like smash it, but I had to pause the episode because I was like, okay, and collect myself, because that was so good. And then my second favorite read of the mini challenge was Organza being like, oh yeah, Shannon is here representing Rio de Janeiro, but looking at her makeup, you would think that she represents São Paulo because her face is as gray as the sky. As a São Paulo girly, I was like, damn. Because it's so true. Like, if like São Paulo's, you know, like sky is really gray because we have a lot of pollution. So that she's evil for that, because Shannon afterwards like, oh girl, are you sure? Really? Like, great. I love being Brazilian. I truly do. Anyways, Bettina wins. We love to see it. And like, we don't even spend that much time on it, because like we just need to jump straight into the maxi challenge, which is a design challenge, and the theme is Atlantic mermaids, which I was excited about because I wanted to see the individual interpretations of like what the girls would, you know, make their mermaid's form be. Which is one of the reasons why I was kind of like confused by the judging, because like, at least for us, the audience, they never said that they wanted classical mermaid. They just said mermaids. So like, to me, it just made me think that, oh, the girls can just make their own interpretation. And to me, I think that everyone's interpretations were like, gave me mermaid, except maybe Aquarella's, just because, you know, she did have like the elbow details and like the webbed hands, but I don't know if that was enough to give mermaid. And Dallas too. I think that the darker approaches to the challenge were like the ones where you really needed to like have one thing that really said mermaid to get it. Grag gives the queens the countdown. It's time to run for their lives, get the materials, and start making shit. Like, and they do exactly that, because like there was nothing left from like the little like scenery that they made. There was nothing left. I was like, this is Brazil. This is Brazil. The queens start to like sketch their looks and plan their looks. We get to see a little like Elena and Ruby moment, or just like, you know, talking about, oh, I really want to see what you are going to be doing. Because they're kind of like, they're both like established themselves as like the fashion queens of the season and like the designers. Because of course, like, NASA has a fashion degree, but Elena and Ruby really like made, in just like 2 episodes, like this, you know, impression to the judges and the audience. So yeah, I think that the only girl that was truly shown like struggling was Shano. Because she was like, oh yeah, I cannot sew, I don't know like about patterns, which like for someone that doesn't know how to sew, her final look, it looked like it was made by someone that knew what they were doing. So I'm like, were you playing us? Or were you for real? Because like it was beautiful. And then like also, you know, Melusine starts sewing immediately, which I was like, okay, her project must be like huge, because she like, after like with Drag Queen, she's like, oh yeah, I sketched for like 2 to 5 minutes and then just went straight into sewing. And I'm like, okay, that's bold. And then like, you know, she starts talking about, you know, how her mom taught her how to sew, how everything that she knows, it's because of her mom. And she just wants to make her really proud, which I think it's a feeling that like, especially for us queer people, deep down, all we want to do is make our parents, normally, especially our moms, proud. So that was a really like heartwarming moment that really made me love Melusine even more. Like, Melusine was truly one of my favorites. So yeah, it was such a like a cute emotional moment, and just like getting to know that, like, you know, her mom worked with her on her like third-party entertainment company, and just how she make the costumes for it, and like and how she would stay up late making costumes for her. That was truly a beautiful moment. But also, like, as much as I was almost crying, at the back of my head I was like, shit. Because again, Drag Race, or just like watching any reality show that is a competition, it primes you to know specific like storyline beats and like things here and there that can be foreshadowing for either win or going home. And I think that in my case it's even worse, because I also have a degree in communication media. So like, I'm like, oh no. And then we have like my final highlight for the like first moments of the girls getting into it, which is Miranda mentioning how like she wanted plastic, and thank God she got it, because, you know, she had experience like doing stuff with plastic. Of course, not like plastic from floaties, but like she was going to make it work. And I was like, I think it's going to do well. And she did. she did. We're going to get to it. Next, we get our first Grag walkthrough. I have like 3 highlights for this little like portion of the walkthroughs, which were like, number 1, NASA is so smart, because that's the first thing that she says is, I looked around and I noticed that everyone was doing gowns and like, you know, like actual like tails and stuff. So, and she wants to do something different. Like, she is so smart. NASA knows how to play this game. And like, I need people to stop. Greg also gives her like some makeup advice and tips that she, you know, immediately is like, okay, I'll do that. She does that. And, you know, or about, we get to know like a little more about Miranda and how like, you know, her plastic, you know, like affinity and like, you know, experience makes a lot more sense now, because she in the Navy and during her time in the Navy, she like noticed how much plastic was just like in the oceans, and how and that was the moment that I immediately was just like, okay, so I know I don't have to be scared for Miranda. She's going to do great. Like, I am you. I was like, okay, yeah, like sealed. She's safe at least. And my final highlight was Greg saying to Melusine that it was really important that her tail and the skirt would be functional. It was really important to make the look work when it comes to like a mermaid walking, which is kind of foreshadowing, because then she also repeats that to like the whole room, being like, remember guys, if you're going to do tails, it needs to work when walking down the runway. So that was to me like big foreshadowing after you get to like the critiques and the placements. I was like, okay, yeah, I get it. And before she leaves, she announces that the guest judge is Rafael Domareski, which is a TV presenter, I think. He would also like on the reality show too, right? I don't know. I kind of like didn't fully care for him. I'm going to be completely honest. Like, it's Elimination Day. The queens walk in. They're all clearly tired. And like Elena, she's so cunty. She's so mother. Because she's like, you know, I stayed up to 4 finishing the look, but at least I slept. Shady. Shady girl. Love that. Like, be confident, be cunty, be fierce. You're a drag queen. Like, come on, girl. Love. And even though they were tired, being tired did not stop them for referencing the icon Vanessa Wolf at least like 4 times, which I live. You guys can keep saying this as much as you want. Like,
eu vou estar belíssima, toda montada, vocês não podem perder.
Keep going, please, more. Like, I need Vanessa to be a judge next season. For what challenge? I don't know. Like improv, because she's a streamer, you know. Maybe like, oh, improv, like, because on a live stream, you do like some kind of like, you do have to be like quick on your feet for stuff, you know, to keep a... But yeah, we also have like a little sneak peek of the conversation that the queens will have on Untucked about, you know, like, oh, my whole look was made from the materials. And, you know, the breakdown of like how many unconventional materials you used versus how much like fabric from the fabric wall you used. Like, we're going to get to it on the Untucked part, but you know, that just brings us before we get to the espelhinho da desgraça for this episode. We need to like just talk about Bettina forgetting that the library was closed and just like being diddles in his sparkle. That took me out. In like the queens like starts to scream and like walk around like and run around. That was me. That was me. Like 1 a.m. Like girl, that's I love this cast so much. So okay, yeah. Okay, for Tragedy Mirror we only have like one thing really, which is, you know, Bettina's relationship. For the tragedy mirror we only have like one thing, which is Bettina talking about her family and their relationship with like her drag, which is basically none, and how, you know, her husband on the other hand is just the most supportive person ever. And then we got to a really emotional part of it, which we just learned that without her husband, Bettina would have probably like given up on like during the preparation like time for the show. And I just want to say, Senhor Polaroid, Mr. Polaroid, muito obrigado por apoiar a Bettina neste momento de preparação. Eu não consigo ver essa temporada sem a Bettina. E então, muito obrigado pelo seu serviço. Muito like, and that was a really like, you know, emotional moment for her, because I bet that after you have been in the bottom for like the first 2 challenges, like for Bettina to be able to say that like, oh, my performance on those 2 challenges do not reflect on the kind of drag queen that I am. That you need to have like a really good like sense of like yourself and how, and your like your value and like who you are, because those critiques, those bottom placements can really get to you. And I'm really happy to see that this not getting. And it's time for the runway. Yes. We start with Grag Queen looking so good. I love this look. I love the look. Love the look. But more than anything, I love her makeup. Koichi, if you guys don't know, Koichi is currently Grag's makeup artist. And they are such an amazing, talented makeup artist. Is insane. Is truly insane. Just mwah, like top notch like makeup. Just insane. Love them. Okay, before we go to the queens, I need to play this little compilation that just like shows every single ocean pun that the judges made during the runway, because there were so many that it's better to just like put them all here now than to like explain one by one as the queens, you know, walk during the runway. So please enjoy this lovely compilation brought to you by Fusco News, Fuscolina. Love you guys so much. And yes, let's go.
Sushi away. Uma sereia drag não quer guerra com ninguém, meu amor. Esse look é de pirar o cu, hein? Xanon ômega 3 faz muito bem pra saúde, viu, meu amor?
É isso mesmo.
Concha la concha.
There were so many puns this episode. It was like insanity. I will take what they are having, because like, girl, the energy on the stage was something. First on the runway is Hubie Ocean. Jesus Christ. This look is just beautiful. Beautiful. Like, the movement, the construction. I mean, that's a seamstress. That's a designer. Like, of course, we knew that she could do it because of her runway looks. But like just the flavor. I love Ruby Ocean with all my heart. Just, she devours the runway every single time, and I am so glad. I'm so glad because, again, because of like her promo and Meet the Queens, people were kind of clowning on her and being like, oh, I will see if you are a fashion queen or not. Including non-drag queens, which like, who do you think you are? But anyways, so I am glad to see that she's just devouring. She's proving everyone wrong. Love that for her. The judging. I don't fully agree with like the critiques of like her look not fitting the theme really, because you know, the theme was mermaids, but it's up to the queens to like, you know, do whatever the fuck they want with the theme. And like, I looked at her look and I was like, okay, yeah, that's a mermaid. Especially because like, she did the mermaid like skirt tail thing. And like, not all mermaids need to look like Ariel. Or like, so I don't necessarily understand what they were coming from there. But I am glad that like Grag was like, thank you so much for bringing that level of complexity to this runway, to the competition. Because like, that look was so good. And like, it was hard to make. It was really, definitely, like, I was looking at it and I was like, this was hard to make. Like, how did you do this? And I think that the only reason why she was not part of the double win is because the look was a little bit loose in some parts. Even though to me, it didn't bother me that much. Next on the runway is NASA with my second favorite look of the night. Yes, I said it. I am going to be right here, right now, and say that NASA deserved her win. Oh, but it looks like a costume. In the words of Katya, she has a dick. This is drag. Are you guys out of your fucking minds? The look was really well made. Really well made. Like, really, like, it was so cute. It was beautiful to look at it. Like, I don't mind, like, the thing that she made, like, with her hips and the thing. Like, does it look a little bit diaper? Yes. But I was like, oh, this is supposed to be a floaty. Work. I loved the look. I loved the look. Like, loved the look. I do think that people have a problem with NASA being too confident because they don't see it. But like, I prefer a drag queen to be confident than a drag queen to constantly be self-doubting themselves and be like, I'm not good enough. And also, I just have to say that normally people that are like annoyed by queens or people in general that are confident, normally it's because they don't have that self-confidence. They cannot relate. And because they don't have that self-confidence, when they see someone having it, they are bothered. So, like, shut up. Shut the fuck up. Shut the fuck up. Anyway, the judging. I agree with everything that they said. It was a great, like, night, a great week for NASA. She did great. Like, she took Grag's tips on the makeup. She is smart. She's a smart girl. She is a smart girl. And like, being smart and doing what the judges ask you to do is how you go far in this competition. Period. You might not like her, you might not see what the judges are seeing, but she's doing what the judges are asking for. And that's how you get rewarded in this competition. Because guess what, Mary? This is not this is a reality show. RuPaul's Drag Race, the Drag Race franchise, it's a TV show first. A fair competition in a showcase of talent may be like 4th. Get over yourself and get into reality for a moment. Can you do that? I didn't expect to get that heated. Anyways, Aquarela is next, and I liked the look, but it felt incomplete. It felt like something was missing, but based on what she was saying, that's what she envisioned. Like, again, as I said, like, earlier in the video, even though, like, we had, like, the elbow detailing and the webbed fingers and, like, hand and, like, the trident, it was giving me sea creature, but not necessarily mermaid, and she wanted to mix, like, this, like, dark, like, sea creature witch with the glamour of a mermaid. So yeah, when it comes to the judging, I do agree with Grag that she didn't fully deliver what she said she was going to deliver, because I see the glamour, but I don't immediately see mermaid, and I don't fully see the creepiness, the edgy that she said that she was going to bring. So I think that I would also put Aquarela in the bottom, just because, like, this was such a strong design challenge that, like, it's really just, like, splitting hairs. It's nitpicking. It's just what it is. Next on the runway is Organza with a look that I liked, but I didn't love it. And I was expecting to love Organza in this challenge because I know that she can sew. I think that I would like the look a tiny bit more if she had some hippage. If she patted, like, her hips a little bit, just to give it a little whoop, you know? Because it would help, like, the tail a little bit more, like the vision of the tail. I do like how she tried to, like, incorporate the puff aspect. So I'll give her points for that, for, like, creativity. But overall, not one of my favorite looks. And I could see a reality where she would be in the bottom. Maybe not bottom 2, but, like, low. But, you know, even though the skirt was, like, really, like, tight and, like, really, like, fitted to her body, she could still walk, which I think is what actually saved her for being low. Next up, we have a queen that I could have totally see winning the challenge or just being the top, but she was safe, is Miranda Lebrão. Miranda Lebrão. This look, just great. A great look. Really, 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 really great look. Like, I was so impressed. I was, like, when she said, like, oh, my drawing doesn't fully, like, translate on what's the image that I have in my brain, I was like, I want to see where this goes. And, like, it looked great. It looked really great. It was really well done. It is 100% unconventional materials. So I would have loved to see her in the top. We had other franchises do, like, 4 queens in the top and 3 in the bottom. So this week, I would do that. I would do that, definitely. Maybe, I don't know if I would give her the win, but I could see her winning. Like, Naza, Elena, Hubi, and her. I could see, like, all 4 of them winning, really. Next up is Bettina Polaroid, serving rocker gem in the holograms, but make it mermaid. Kind of like, maybe like a gem in the holograms, and like, but like Barbie mermaid movie, like collab. That's what's giving me. Like, when she said Bowie, I saw it immediately. I saw it. When she said Bowie, I saw it. I was like, ooh, work. She did a really well job of, like, matching her aesthetic and the kind of drag that she does through this runway. I think that she was like perfectly safe. Thank God. Again, I think that they are doing what I said that they were doing, which is like making her like evolution be like episode by episode, her placement gets better. So like bottom 2, low, safe, high, win. But this means that she's only going to start being critiqued well on episode 5, if this is what's happening. And I don't like that. This is not the, you know, the reality that I want to live in, because I always seen it for Bettina, and I need the judges to start seeing her immediately. Okay, next up, we see Shannon Scarlett. And again, for someone that doesn't sew, that look was beautiful. It was perfectly safe. I think that in any other season or like later in the season, she could have been in the top, definitely. It was just great to see, like, her not being near the bottom, even after like she had like the little moment of like, oh, will she do it? Will she do it? Because she did not know how to sew. So that was really good to see. I think that like her and Bettina were like, to me, like the perfectly safe. They were like in the middle. Really good. Really good. Next up, we have Dallas DeVille. And this was my least favorite look in the runway this episode. I love the prosthetics. I love the makeup. I wish that the white would have like traveled down beyond her neck, because her look had like the panty, the shorts that she already had. Her, like, what she created was like the top. And I think that like it was weaker than the other queen that was in the bottom. So I think that to me, she was my like clear bottom 2 placement. Even though she did get better on the runway. She gave a character. I think that she should have been in the bottom, unfortunately. And I hate to say that, because like I am rooting for Dallas. I want Dallas to do well in this competition. But like, just, she was the worst. I'm sorry. I agree with everything that the judges said. The panties being the same one from the last episode was like rough. And I'm glad that like Grag clocked her with the timing thing. Everyone had the same time, and look at what the other ones did. Like, time is not an excuse. You should have had better time management. With this judging specifically, I was like, I think she's in the bottom. But bottom 2. But she wasn't. Anyways, next is Melusine Sparkle giving us a Ursula Ariel mashup. And I think that the look was really cute. Her skirt was one of the better skirts in the episode. It was so well done. I get it that because it's a design and like construction challenge, her not being able to properly walk on it is something that would deduct points. So I agree with her like being low, but bottom 2? Absolutely not. You know, like I agree with the judges, but like I don't think that like that not being able to walk on the look is enough to put you in the bottom when someone had a worse look than you. That's just my opinion. And also, why did she reveal the pants before the lip sync? I get it that like in the heat of the moment when Grag Queen is like if you were in the bottom, what would you do? I get it, but you could have just said, wait and see. Be cunty, because you know that would have been a really cute gag for the lip sync that you lost because that. But now because you revealed it way too early, you don't have it. Or reveal the pants on the runway. It would be a really cute moment of like, oh my god, she's a mermaid. She cannot properly walk because guess what? She's on Earth now and she has legs. That would have been a cute storyline that would probably have saved her from the bottom. But again, those kind of stuff is like things that you can only like really like point out when you are back home watching it. So I cannot like, you know, like be like so harsh on her. And finally, we have my favorite look on that runway. Helena Maldita. Jesus fucking Christ. She is mother. Like, are you kidding? She made that on the workroom? It was so well done. Like, the mixed fabrics and like the cutouts and the placements and the choice of like the makeup, the hair, the chains on the face. I am so glad that she is on this season. She is Bahia realness. Helena Maldita, eu te amo. Eu te amo. And I'm so sad that I'm not going to be able to see her on the watch party for episode 6. That is happening whenever episode 6 is released. Because I don't think I'd be able to, I have enough money for it. But hopefully, maybe. Anyways, like, I don't even have proper words to explain how obsessed I was with that look. Like, Grag's face when she entered the runway was like, that's me. That's, like, she did so well. She did so well. With the judging, like, the whole thing with, like, wanting to see her maldita, her cursed side, is so random for the 4th episode of the season. Specifically, when this whole talk is started by a guest judge that wasn't here on the other episodes. That's all. That's all I'm saying. But at least this gave us the opportunity to see like even more of like her personal story, which I love to see. Okay, my feelings towards this runway overall. As I said on my like episode like overall review at the beginning of the video, one of the best design challenges ever. Everyone did okay. Even Dallas was my least favorite, was okay. She would have been saved on some other seasons, let's be honest now. Again, as I said, Drag Race Brazil and season 15 gave us some of the best design challenges in a while. Everyone was perfectly fine. We love to see it. We truly love to see it. Alright, Organza, Miranda, Bettina, and Shannon are safe. They go to the Untucked lounge, and on the Untucked lounge, we start again the conversation about, you know, like the percentage breakdown of like, oh, this look is fully unconventional materials. Oh, this look is more fabric than the materials and blah, blah, blah. This whole fight was a mess. I don't fully agree with like this argument because it was never a rule that you have to only use the materials that they give you from like the unconventional side. So like, because it was never said that you only need to use that, I don't see why the queens wouldn't use the fabrics. Because again, this whole fight was a mess. I do have to agree with Naza when she says that like it doesn't matter what you girls think, it matters what the judges think. Because let's be honest, that's exactly the truth. So yeah, after, you know, this little fight and like judges critiques like properly, the queens are called back to the stage And we have placements. Ruby is deemed safe. Elena wins. And right after Elena goes to the back, NASA is also called as the winner, which I agree. Again, as I said, it's a reality show. It's not supposed to be fair. So if you don't think it's fair, good for you. But don't go attack queens. Don't say that, oh, she didn't deserve it. Like, you can have your opinions, but be respectful about it. Come, please. Please. I do think that they give them both the win because the looks were like in completely like different set of sides of the spectrum. Elena was gorgeous, glamour, like you know, cunty. Naza's was fun, was colorful, was like different from what everyone else was doing. Like really only her and Meluzini did like something more cartoonish. So I can see why they both win. Dallas is deemed safe, which means that Aquarela and Meluzini are the bottom two queens. And I don't agree. I do think that the bottom two should have been Aquarela and Dallas. But yeah, Meluzini and Aquarela lip sync to Cheguei by Ludmilla. And this lip sync is the lip sync that we were all waiting for. Because, let's be honest here, as I mentioned, the lip syncs for episode 2 and 3 were not the best. So, to see the queens actually do well, I was like, I was dancing around, I was lip syncing to it as well. I loved it, loved the lip sync. I personally don't mind taking your clothes off on the stage if it makes sense, but I do have to agree that Aquarela did the best in the lip sync. So unfortunately, Meluzini goes home. And that hurt. Like, that truly hurt me because, again, I love Meluzini. She was one of my favorites, really. She was not like in my top 4, but like, she was one of my favorites. And see her go so soon on a challenge that she did well, it was really hurtful. And like, I already was crying, but then like seeing just Miranda and Naza crying, I was like, just take me out. Just, hey, please take me now. I don't want to suffer anymore. Like, and also like the dramatic irony of Naza winning the episode and her bestie goes home. That's the storyline. So like, I don't know. I hope that doesn't affect Naza for the next episode. Maybe it's going to like shake her up a little bit, even though she just won. Okay, and before we wrap it up, I do have to talk a little bit about the lip syncs. Some people are complaining about the lip syncs being funky. And with this one channel, wait, let me see the correct name so I can reference it. Galo das Três, they mentioned on this one video that those kind of songs, this genre, is easier to market and export to the international people because it kind of like it's kind of similar to like pop music in the US and in Europe. So like, unfortunately, we are missing out on like some true classic drag songs. Like bring us the classics. We all want that, but at the same time, we need to realize that like Drag Race is it's a product. It's a reality show. So I unfortunately don't think we will see classic lip sync songs really on this season. Because like, even though I did get spoiled at like the artists that would be featured for lip syncs, I already forgot the list. I don't even remember. I do remember Ludmilla being there. I do remember like Pablo being there. I remember Luisa being there. I remember Ludmilla being there. Everyone else is. I'm starting to forget. So like I don't even care anymore. But I do think that list was correct. So yeah, that's something that I had to talk about as well. I am as devastated as everyone else because I would love to see some like strong drag classics on that show. Because like Mexico did it. We had some like songs that I would think were classic lip sync songs because they were like older songs. So why not Brazil? I'm not sure. I'm not sure. But yeah, this episode was great. Next episode is going to be a like, not a branding challenge, but they need to make like a commercial, and it needs to be like personal and emotional. We see Queens crying. We see Greg hugging Shannon. So I am expecting to cry this episode. It's the only thing that I know is that I'm going to cry. Every single episode this show made me cry already, so like, yeah. As always, I hope that I was of help to understand references and stuff and do all of that. We didn't have tea this week, really, so at least I can bring you guys like some discussions that are happening on the internet and on Brazilian Twitter and such. So, yeah, hope I was of any help. We'll see each other on the next episode. Again, like, comment, subscribe, so you guys don't miss a single video that I post. And I will see you guys next time. Bye-bye!